ladies. Today we're going to be talking about the number one tool to overcome depression. My name is Olivia Shadid, and I am a theatre healer, and I have a background in psychology, and I've learned extensive knowledge over the last 10 years to do with mental health and how to overcome depression. I've also had experiences with depression when I was younger. While I was in my teenage years, I was struggling a lot with my mental health. At the time, there wasn't actually a lot out there on mental health or depression. I had a lot of issues after extensive trauma from many years that prevented me from really living the life I wanted. It was only until I started actually researching online did I even know what mental health was, or how to even know what I had, or how to discover how to heal what I had. After doing a lot of research, I realized that I had depression, self diagnosed depression. That was the key component of what I was actually suffering with. And after going to psychology, I can, and my psychology degree, I can also confirm that that was definitely what I had, as well as a combination of probably going through my own spiritual awakening. I also remember how I was struggling from it and how alone I felt, and how I felt like no one really understood what I was going through. And it was almost like people weren't kind of taking me seriously about how I was feeling and what I was going through. And if you feel the same, you're not alone in this. A lot of people who go through depression feel like that. So don't feel alone, because you're not. And your spiritual team is always there. And with everything that's been going on in the last couple of years, a lot of people are actually struggling with mental health and depression. I felt a huge calling to actually really talk about this topic and really give you some tips from my own experiences and from what I've learned over the last 10 years. Before we continue, I do have to put a disclaimer in that these tips are only suggestions to help you. If you're really struggling with your mental health and in a very dark place, I do suggest you get some help and go to a psychologist to really identify your struggles. I know it's hard to get help, but it's very important to actually go to someone if you feel like you can't really help yourself at the moment, that you go to someone that can help you. And in the meantime of that and in between that, these are suggestions to help you along the way. Also, I am not a doctor or a psychologist, so again, these are just suggestions and tips. I have been learning about mental health for the last 10 years, and I do have a degree in psychology and theater healing, but I am not a doctor. Now, before we get into the main thing that really helped me overcome depression, is a tip that really started me on the right path of moving forward. So, which was, how am I feeling? What am I feeling? And what is going on with me? What is coming up for me? What thoughts am I having? And really identifying the symptoms or the feelings I'm having within myself to really know what's going on, and to identify, is it something else? Is it not so extreme? Maybe it's just, it's seasonal, or is it just a bit of sadness, or is it just because of an event? Is it something that's actually prolonging, and is it feelings that aren't going away? So it's really identifying how long you're feeling the things you are, what's really going on, and how you are feeling inside. Really identifying within your body, where in your body you're feeling these things as well is important, because you also want to really help yourself to really release those feelings as well, because keeping these feelings pent up as well can create a lot of suppressed feelings, which then will affect your health and affect your belief systems and long-term effects later on in life of having these feelings still there and just building up and building up. So some of the symptoms from depression are change in appetite, eating too little, loss in appetite, eating too much, overeating, change in sleeping patterns like insomnia or not wanting to wake up, loss of interest or concentration. And the main ones really that I even had was feeling, well, not so, I don't know for me so much feeling guilt, but you can have feelings of guilt. For me, it was feelings of helplessness, worthiness issues, hopelessness, and then other ones which I realized I had later that I had suppressed. That's why I'm telling you that it is important to deal with these emotions as they come up, which is anger and irritability, feeling sad, constantly sad or anxious, feeling of emptiness, which I definitely felt. Um, Also, self harm or suicide thoughts or attempts. Which, if you are, you need to go see a doctor, a psychologist to actually really work on these things with you. So after just mentioning these, you can have others as well. It's important to really understand what symptoms you're having, really dive in deep and look at these symptoms. It can be hard, so if you need to go and talk to someone and have someone support you in this, that is good too. But it's a good idea to understand those feelings and really dive deep into them so they don't get suppressed. It's also important not to reject the feelings that you're having. And we are in the season of thinking positively and changing mindset, and that is great. But what happens is that a lot of people then bypass how they're feeling, and that's not good either. If you're feeling a certain way, it's not to reject it or uh, pretend that you're feeling a different way either, because those feelings are coming there for a reason and coming up for a reason for you to look at. So it is important that yes, you stay positive and and all of that, but you also want to validate how you're feeling. If I'm feeling sad, if I'm feeling upset, if I'm feeling angry, I I look into myself and say, why am I feeling these things? Can I just release these emotions? Can I ask my body, why is this anger coming up? What can I do about this anger that is coming up? What can I do about this fear that is coming up? And really allow it to release after that and accept, yes, this is how I'm feeling. I understand you. I know this is why you're feeling this way. What can I do to help you? And then that will also ease within your body as well to overcome these feelings as well. And then that then gives you an opportunity to say, okay, now I want to change my mindset and think a bit more, change my thinking and say that I'm feeling relieved or I'm feeling a bit better, I'm feeling more positive. You know, it's we don't want to bypass our feelings either, because our negative emotions are just as important as our positive emotions. Our negative emotions are warning us about how about our lives and what we're doing, and and they are a good tool for us to identify things that are going on within us and within our surroundings. So it's best not to just try and bypass that or just move over from that feeling, because all you're doing is then suppressing it. So you really want to work on it, and then you can start then shifting that mindset. And if and it's about taking one step at a time. If you can only do one thing, like just validating them, start with that, and then you can build up and build up and into when you're feeling better. And take a minute, take a few minutes every day, do a few more minutes into this exercise, and that can really help you with how you're feeling. And if you're really struggling with those emotions, it is good to also do this with a healer, a psychologist. and really work through these things. Once, even when I was going through depression, once I was really noticing and accepting, oh yeah, these are the things I'm feeling, and really accepting them. And I probably needed to do a lot more releasing at that point. That's why I'm also advising you to do that, and suggesting that you do that, because what I found is I had a lot more suppressed emotions as time went on, and through my healing journey I have realized that there has been a lot that has been suppressed. So it's advisable that you do these things now. And for me, once I really started also accepting these emotions at that time as well, and realizing, okay, I'm feeling this, but I don't want to feel like this anymore. I don't want to feel in this, I don't want to be in this dark place anymore. I don't want to, and I want to decide to feel better and to do better, is also when I started really helping myself. Like I said, you know, once really identifying my feelings, working through them, and then saying, you know what, I want to feel better. I don't want to be in this anymore. I want to help myself and really improve what stage I am at in my mental health, So taking it step by step. One of the other things that are important to note as well before we get into the big reveal of the tip that really helped me was another tip, which is, I'll never forget what someone had said to me when I was going through all of this. So I always had concerns about how am I going to keep leveling up? How am I going to keep maintaining my mental health and really getting myself out of the state I was in, And someone said to me, which I found so important and that I still use to this day whenever I'm feeling a bit down and whenever I'm concerned that I might be slipping back because I haven't been working enough on my mental health because of stress or any other current events or not current events, but past events that have come up. So what I look at is, and I think about, are the words that a special person on my path told me, which is, this is only as bad as it's gonna get. If you choose that you are going to get better, this is rock bottom. This is the point where it's not going to get any worse and it can only get better from here. But also, whenever you're slipping back into something, you're never going to get to the point you were again, because you won't allow yourself to get to that point again, because you will know. And this is the reason why I told you to actually talk about, or actually really consider looking into your emotions and how you're feeling, is to also identify those feelings and how you're feeling now and the thoughts you're having now, and even write them down, so that whenever you're feeling like this again, it's a warning sign to say you need to start looking at your mental health again. This is a very important sign for you to then say, no, I don't want to get to the place I was again, and then actually work towards improving that and doing tools to improve that. And another thing is that after I got these wise words from this person, I actually made a promise to myself. And whenever you're ready, you can make a promise to yourself to say, this is my rock bottom, and this is not going to ever be where I am again, because I'm going to decide to get out of this dark place and actually work on my mental health to get it to a place where it's not at this point ever again. And whenever I'm slipping, these words will be remembered in order for me to never slip back into where I was again. And I have never slipped back into as a darker place as I was in at that particular time, because I every single time I felt myself slipping back into something, or not really taking enough time to work on my mental health in the past, I really decided, okay, let me do, which is one of the tools I'm going to give you soon. Um, let me do a tool that will help me get out of get out of um, where I'm slipping back into, and really identifying again those, like I said, really identifying how I'm feeling and why these feelings are coming up, and really working through that before I also do those steps as well. So the long awaited number one tip to overcoming depression, at least for me, and especially from even people I've talked to who have also actually dealt with depression, is purpose. I actually fell into my purpose um, when I was going through my depression, because I think that was also one of the reasons I went into it in the first place. Because that's the moment I actually, and that's why I was talking also about spiritual awakening as well, is that you can also, the reason why you're going through a depression is also you're kind of going through a spiritual awakening, which really, that's when I found my purpose. Because once I started looking into mental health and working through my own issues, I started loving learning about mental health, learning about psychology, learning about how the mind works. And it wasn't until years later did I realize, oh, wow, this is really why I actually was going through my depression. And that's not necessarily the case for you. It can be, but what I really found, and when I've talked to other people, and when they have what they have been able to do when overcoming theirs, is really purpose, has really helped them. And I have a whole blog on the purpose because I find it extremely important, and remembering what your purpose is, all the tools and how to do that is on my blog, and I will put the link down in below. But some of the things to think about is, okay, um, what what are the things that you get asked about? What are the things that you have been good at in the past? What did you want to be as a child? Because funny enough, I wanted to be a doctor when I was a child, but I've always had issues around blood, so I never really went down that direction. But the funny thing is a doctor is classified as a healer, so I actually became a healer, which, like, you can look at it like that, where, even though you might have been wanted to do something when you were younger, maybe it's a different form of what you wanted to do when you were younger. Maybe it's the qualities or the actions that involved in that skill that you want to do. It's really going into that as well, because a lot of the time we're very intuitive when we're younger, and we really know what we actually want to do in the end. Also, maybe the things that you were interested in before, to try and figure out, are those things that you're interested in that might actually give you a sense of purpose again. Maybe start those things back up, even if it's just like 5 minutes a day to work on remembering your purpose, and researching, reading a book, even one page a day, just little steps a day. And I know you might not be energized, you might feel drained because of the dark place you are, you might not want to, you might not feel motivated, but everyone has a minute or 5 minutes a day to look at something, and that can really help inspire you, and really help and get your passion back, and really help lift your spirits and your mood. And I'm telling you, every single time I have gone felt like I've been slipping back, I always drive back into my purpose, and I always do something that I know will help me get motivated and lift my spirits and move me out of the low vibrational place I have been in. And for those who know their purpose, again, do the same thing as what I just said. Drive back into what you are doing. Even if it's 5 minutes a day, do it, like just, and try not to think about it too much. Just take little steps. Little steps. You don't have to take big steps, because I know when you're in a dark place, it's very hard and you don't want to take huge steps. Take little steps. Take small steps. And all the time you take those little steps, they will help move you further and further into a better place, into a better vibration, into a better mindset. That's really my number one tool into how I keep my mental state, my mental health in a good place, and how I overcame mine, including a lot of others, which I'm doing a series on overcoming depression. So there will be other tools coming up, but this is definitely, these few tools that I've given you today are very important, and they were fundamental when I was going through my own. And the purpose one is so, so strong. You have no idea. If you really just try and tune in, and even if you don't know what to do, doing some research and trying to think about and really work on that is going to really help you. But it will only help you if you want to be helped. If you want to do something about where you're at right now, if you want to really get out of where you are right now, you will work towards the things I've said. And I believe that because you're here, you want to. So please have a think about that. And again, these are just suggestions. It's your choice about what you're going to do in the end. But this is something that really helped me, and I wanted you to also get some help from it as well. But if you want to learn more about how to overcome depression, learning about stepping into your power, learning how to overcome anxiety, other mental health issues, really diving in deep to also how to deal with belief systems, and also a bit more about what I do if you want to learn a bit more about that as well. So stay tuned for my next video, and you can do that by subscribing and clicking the notification bell. Also, I have new content coming out soon on my blog, so you might want to subscribe to that. There's going to be a lot of new material on there very soon. Also, if you enjoyed this video, please like it, and comment below if you have any suggestions for me about any topics you want me to discuss, or talk about how you're feeling. Really support each other in the comments. Share this with anyone you think that might need it. And remember, you aren't alone in this. Have a great day, and I will see you soon. Much love. Mwah.